And to think I wanted to kill you 2 times. In this quarantine, you have become my friend. I love you, Manuel. The rat said this. Someday I want to see a show that does the no filler episodes thing from the opposite direction. Just a whole season worth of low stakes character pieces that seem to move the overall story absolutely nowhere. Then episode 26 pulls all the triggers at once, and this massive Rube Goldberg machine of a plot the show's been quietly setting up in the background the whole time hits you like a truck. Hashtag Chekhov's firing squad. The year is 2040, and you are the last smoker alive. The quit smoking ads get personal. You walk into Times Square. A giant billboard lights up reading, "The hot barista you Facebook stalked doesn't like smokers." You walk back into the subway and go home. Another heavy-handed symbolism moment. My mom has a potted sunflower in the kitchen. Because it is a sunflower, it keeps turning towards the light from the window. My mother keeps rotating it so it faces inward because she wants to see its beautiful petals and have it really brighten up the space. The sunflower is visibly wilting. One time in driver's ed training, we stopped in the middle of nowhere off the highway at a combination KFC and Taco Bell. Guy at the counter was wearing a Taco Bell hat and asked, "KFC or Taco Bell?" Before I said anything, so I said, KFC? And this dipped behind the counter and reappeared with a KFC hat on instead. You know what? Fuck you. Replaces all the boards in your ship with different boards until you aren't sure whether it's the same ship anymore. You know what? Fuck you back. Builds exact replica of the ship with the discarded original boards. I have a friend who wears a mask, and if he were here, he'd narrow his eyes and lower his voice and say, "I wear a mask each night so you won't ever have to." Petition to DC to add the little bat ears to the speech bubble every time someone imitates Batman. I like this idea. Next week at the Grammys, I want to see someone throw a chair at Justin Bieber. I've had a taste of award show violence, and I fear I now crave it. Thank you, Will Smith. Having a blast at the park. Bird that goes wee 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 wee. Bird that goes eep eep eep. Bird that goes hoo hoo hoo. Bird. Bird that goes wee woo. Hi, brain, you obstinate f***er. I drank the clear splashy stuff. I ate the green things. I went under that bright f***er up there. I did the thing with the moving and sweating and whatnot. Now make the happy chemical, you lump of f***. Did you do the thing with lying unconscious for 8 hours? Guide for teens. Tell the cops nothing. Tell the paramedics everything. Your eyebrows are fine. She's middle-aged, she's divorced, she hits people with giant hammers, she has a weird relationship with God, she has a squad of silly guys, she's tormented by horrors beyond her understanding, and most importantly, she's butch. I didn't say a name, but she popped into your head, didn't she? Hashtag King DDD. Okay, wait, I'm obsessed with this, actually. King DDD does canonically have problems with God, so... Man eating rice. China, 1901 to 1904. This is an extremely important picture. I've never seen someone from 1904 having fun, oh my god. He has a nice face. No, but the history behind this picture is really interesting. The reason that everyone always looked miserable in old photos wasn't that they took too long to take. Once photography became widespread, it only took seconds to take a picture. It was because getting your photo taken was treated the same as getting your portrait painted. A very serious occasion meant so that your descendants would know that you existed and what you looked like. But one time, some British dudes went to China to go on an anthropological expedition, and they met some rural Chinese farmers and decided to take their pictures. Now, these people weren't exposed to the weird culture of the time around getting your photo taken, so this guy just flashed a big grin during the photo because he was told to strike a pose, and that's the pose he wanted to strike. Love that. My son has parked his bike by this lamppost just about every day for the last year. This morning, this sticker had appeared. Absolutely made our day. People can be so brilliant. Thank you, whoever did it. There are no rules. I'm gonna get you. This is the best f***ing movie on the planet. Hashtag everything everywhere all at once. Go see it. Mario and Luigi, Partners in Time, is a game in which the player controls Mario and 3 babies. Dude, I played the f*** out of this game when I was like 7. Sometimes I think about the fact that DreamWorks was working on The Prince of Egypt and Shrek at the same time, and would apparently send people to work on Shrek instead of The Prince of Egypt as a form of punishment. The night I posted this, I couldn't find a source, and I've been wondering ever since if maybe it was just some kind of f***ed-up fever dream or something, but no, it's real. As Shrek floundered, its status as the ugly stepchild at DreamWorks was reinforced. It was known as the Gulag, said one animator. If you failed on The Prince of Egypt, you were sent to the dungeons to work on Shrek. The assignment was referred to as being Shreked. I learned something today. How to use. If you really don't know how, then we suggest you find someone you really like and invite them into the shower with you to demonstrate. I didn't know body wash could be so sexy and condescending. Every time I see this post, I think it's a fire extinguisher and I get really confused. I thought it was Pepto-Bismol. I told my GF that I was having an episode earlier and she replied, "Is it the beach episode?" And it shocked me so much that it grounded me immediately. Got asked by a nurse at psych ward, "Are you like legit sad?" As I was sobbing on a chair. Made me stop crying because I was so perplexed. I want you all to know that this is like a legit strategy that's taught to people, Lamau. An example, say something that is so fucking stupid or absurd that it distracts the person's brain so much that it drags them back and grounds them. Like, people are actually taught to do this. I mean, it makes sense. I'd be scared too, though, if my friend was crying about something serious and I'm like, yeah, but Among Us sus, though. You know, like, who knows, it might work. Deeply haunted by a study that found human beings are less than 50% accurate in determining whether they are being flirted with. Look, I'm sorry I'm 0% accurate and dragging the average down. Had a girl look me in the eyes and tell me she wanted to go to bed while holding my hand, so I told her that she better go then before she fell asleep. Imagine being in a bar, overhearing an argument between two guys calling each other morons, and one of them says, "I speak 12 languages and you barely speak one, don't you call me stupid," and lists 12 languages and one of them happens to be your native language. So you chime in like, "Really? You speak Swahili?" And the dude answers in a very polite wording with perfect grammar and pretty good pronunciation, "I don't actually speak Swahili, but please don't expose and embarrass me," and carries on arguing with a guy who has no idea what he just said. It can be therapeutic to admit, actually, my childhood was deeply fucking awful. Not my parents tried, or there were good times too, or I was lucky in certain ways, but solely to acknowledge I went through some fucking messed up shit. What the fuck was that about? At the farmer's market, the baby was pointing at the tomatoes and going ba 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 and signing on, so my sister was like, "How much for just one tomato?" And the person at the stall was like, "Oh, he can have one, don't worry about it." And the baby stood there by the stall devouring the tomato like an apple in big messy bites, and people kept stopping and going, "Aw," and then, "Oh man, that does look good," and buying a bunch of tomatoes. All natural, organic advertising. Genius. My wife asked me to help decorate the cookies for her sister's baby shower, and then just as quickly asked me to stop helping. Why are all of you reblogging this without the important context that Alan Denton is a writer on Sonic Boom? Well, that's kind of on his wife then, not gonna lie. I'll never understand why Disney is so focused on live-action remakes when they literally own the rights to the Muppets. I would take a Muppet remake of a Disney animation classic over a live-action remake all day, every day. Muppet Beauty and the Beast, where the Beast is played by the only human actor and he turns into a Muppet at the end. The Beast should be a conventionally attractive actor whom the Muppet townspeople continually call hideous until true love releases him from this curse and he shows true beauty, blue felt and plastic eyes. Bazinga, BDSM spanking paddle engraved. Don't ask me how I came across this item, but I'm pretty sure I no longer want to ever have sex again. I have never cringed so hard in my entire life. I am so dry. God has abandoned us. Bazinga, I shout as I paddle my partner. We are both dead inside. This is not the Big Bang we were hoping for. Our marriage is crumbling. Young Chinese are too fat and masturbate too much to pass army fitness tests. 77% of young Americans too fat, mentally ill, on drugs, and more to join military, Pentagon study finds. One struggle. We are more alike than we are unalike. The power flickered 3 times. If we lose power, I'm quitting. Just give me 20 fucking minutes for my chicken nuggets to cook, please. Please. Vegan. I hope your power runs out. That's fucking nice and all, but the chicken is already in the nuggets. The power going out doesn't save a chicken. It's a nugget already. Sorry. I love this post because they said vegan, like it's a Fallout skill check. Failed. That's fucking nice and all, but the chicken is... I like that it's Daniel Radcliffe. Just imagine him in a Fallout game and this is what you're actually talking about in the game is chicken nuggets and power going out. Conservative gamers are always like, why is every game woke nowadays? Why can't we have games like insert the single most leftist game of its time anymore? Sorry kid, can't help you. Why not? 2 words. I am retired. It's funny because I am retired in Greek is that, which is 2 words. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Disney. The thing about debating when an AI counts as a person is that you have to draw lines around what is and isn't a person, and it always ends up having some really uncomfortable implications about neurodivergent people. It's not a real person, it's just almost perfectly emulating one. It's repeating what it thinks it's supposed to say it feels right now, but that doesn't mean it actually does. Girl, so am I. How can we tell if it's telling the truth or just mimicking human speech? How would it know the difference itself? I am still trying to figure that out myself. God bless, I think I have more in common with this computer than I do with you. Just walked my dog past a guy sitting in his car in the dark with the headlights on playing Lose Yourself by Eminem so loud it was crystal clear through the shut windows and just gripping onto the steering wheel and staring straight ahead motionally. Good luck, man. I've been there. I want that twink obliterated. This is how the movie went, right? Kronk. By whom, though? I might be your classic hunk body type, but I'm not exactly a top. I have a couple exes I could call that might be his type. Do you want someone who could take him out for dinner first, or just... I want you to kill him! Lamau, he would totally say this. Genshin Impact's buffest male versus Guilty Gear's skinniest male. The guy on the left is a gang leader, and the guy on the right is like a philosopher. Can't make this shit up. Posting on a Blackboard discussion board and replying to 2 of your fellow students has to be one of the 9 circles of hell. Great point, Dylan. I especially agree with it being one of the 9 circles of hell. Well said. I don't know how my parents can live the way they do. How are you a 9 Inch Nails fan, but also homophobic? I'm trying to fit it all inside. I'm trying to open my mouth wide. I'm trying not to choke inside. I am a good boy and I will swallow it all. What did you think this song was about? I miss the days when, no matter how slow your internet was, if you paused any video and let it buffer long enough, you could watch it uninterrupted. Still fancy that cup of soup now? Yes, because I'm fully aware that liquids start to solidify when you reduce their temperature, you fucking buffoon. If your straight guy friend says that he supports gays, tell him that you thought he was gay when you first met him. See how fast he gets upset and insecure and starts asking why you thought that. My gay guy friend tried this to our straight friend, and the response he got was, thought, more like hoped, and then winked. That's a real ally right there. He really just scalped your poor gay friend on the spot, didn't he? LMFAO. Hey guys, this is my new best friend. I'm making a cake. I made my batter from scratch and I made a strawberry yogurt frosting. Cannot wait to see what this weird little guy looks like. The lamb is done. The lamb is cooling. The lamb did not come out of the pan very well. Features have been lost. Frosting may be needed to rescue the lamb. Behold, my son. Hey OP, do you take criticism? I do not, and please don't speak to me or my son ever again. I'll get you, and it'll look like a bloody accident. Shut up and I mean it. I will end you. Jim Carrey Grinch was chaotic neutral, but Mike Myers Cat in the Hat was just straight up chaotic evil. Did you know that this movie is the reason why the Seuss estate won't allow any more live-action adaptations of Dr. Seuss's books? I understand that. I love that movie. Watched a lot as a kid, but I'd be embarrassed if I was associated with Dr. Seuss and all that. There's a new girl in my kindergarten class who's autistic, and it's like she's barely or not really verbal, but like, I don't know, she opened up to me a little. I don't tell people I'm on the spectrum at work because they already treat me horribly, because I'm the only person of color there, but like, she's a little Latina girl who I know exactly how she feels, and like, I was like, hey Nina, if you don't want to talk, it's okay, just thumbs up or down if you understand the math problem, okay? So we sort of made like a thumbs up and thumbs down thing between us, and today it was the most surreal thing, because I know they tell you to make eye contact, but I'm gonna tell you a trick. Look at their neck, chin, hair, and whatever is behind them. I don't like eye contact very much either. Thumbs up, and she said with the smallest voice, thank you for not saying I'm dumb. I want to be the person I needed when I was her age. Gotham PD. Have you seen anything unusual lately? Random citizen. Unusual for normal cities or unusual for Gotham? Gotham PD. Did you see a clown or not? I still do not understand what possessed so many well-respected actors to do the Spy Kids movies. Like, did they pay really well? Did you want these beautiful, terrible movies to be a blemish on your career forever? Why? Antonio Banderas did so many high-profile movies, then in Spy Kids he looked like this. I was taught a very specific driving etiquette. When driving, the driver only drives. Shotgun seat does everything else. Changes music, adjusts heat, hands the driver the water bottle already opened, and when you pass a car that's been driving in front of you like a f***ing moron, it's shotgun's duty to turn to look and report what this idiot looks like. And also, just in case that driver makes eye contact, stare at them like this. In the bathroom, and Caseta Every Time We Touch just came on, and the girl in the stall next to me was like, oh my god, this is my song, and started peeing harder. Character concept. 2 people who have been reincarnated for thousands of years and have always found each other, but instead of being in love, they just f***ing hate each other. Dark Lord Ganondorf. Dear Diary, today I learned my first curse word. Bich. Dear Diary. Bich. I just learned the F word. It is legend. Some girls don't need makeup to look beautiful. They just need to smile. This is kind of unnerving, actually. I think I remember that show. I think it's from a show where there are several kingdoms, each representing a food group. It's from fucking Madagascar. I think this would look really good in a children's hospital. You know, because color theory. I'm so confused as to what's happening. Is it steak? If Mario Kart was about pure driving, I would win every race. But unfortunately, my competitors insist on engaging in a great deal of unsportsmanlike behavior. This is what competitive Smash players sound like when you play with items on. I'm not a competitive Smash guy, but I do love me some no items one-on-one Smash. But I like items. If you want items on, that's perfectly fine. It's a video game. Have fun. If you got like a 100 kilo bag of glitter and opened it up and left it in the path of like a tornado, I think that would be interesting. I don't care about ecological damage, by the way. I do. 100 kilograms bag of seaweed-based glitter. I don't. 100 kilogram bag of enriched uranium-based glitter. The Super Mario Bros. Movie, 3 stars. I dressed up as Funky Kong to see this with coworkers, and my manager was like, "Who the f*** are you?" Because I looked like a 90s weed dealer, so I told her to just wait and see. And then he never showed up in the movie. Turns out if you dress like Funky Kong IRL, you just end up looking extremely divorced. At 40, Franz Kafka, 1883 to 1924, who never married and had no children, walked through the park in Berlin when he met a girl who was crying because she had lost her favorite doll. She and Kafka searched for the doll unsuccessfully. Kafka told her to meet him there the next day and they would come back to look for her. The next day, when they had not yet found the doll, Kafka gave the girl a letter written by the doll saying, "Please don't cry. I took a trip to see the world. I will write to you about my adventures." Thus began a story which continued until the end of Kafka's life. During their meetings, Kafka read the letters of the doll carefully written with adventures and conversations that the girl found adorable. Finally, Kafka brought back the doll. He bought one that had returned. "It doesn't look like my doll at all," said the girl. Kafka handed her another letter in which the doll wrote, "My travels have changed me." The little girl hugged the new doll and brought her happy home. A year later, Kafka died. Many years later, the now adult girl found a letter inside the doll. In the tiny letters signed by Kafka, it was written, "Everything you love will probably be lost, but in the end, love will return in another way." Well, I gotta go cry for a couple minutes. I'll be right back. I am what they call a conflict escalator, a trained specialist in escalating even the most minor disagreements to the brink of all-out violence. www.cia.gov/careers. Life is just a bunch of 3D printers getting the stuff to use and printing self-building 3D printer printers that also 3D print 3D printer printing 3D printers that build themselves. I don't know what this means, but I think I woke up at ungodly hour o'clock to post this. My favorite video game quest trope is, "Help us, they are stealing our ancient artifact. Thank you for helping us. As a reward, you may have our ancient artifact." The ancient artifact was less important than having agency in its distribution. Nothing is more important than keeping it out of the hands of the British Museum. Instead of the monkey's paw, you find the clown's nose, which instead of granting your wish in the worst way possible, will grant it in the funniest way. Item, the cursed clown nose. Obviously, to use it, you have to put it on and give it a honk. Wow, this really works. I won $1 million. I pull a $1 bill out of my pocket. I pull another $1 bill out of my pocket. This proceeds for the next 3 hours. When I was in high school, my AP English teacher told us we weren't allowed to eat in class, so I took that as a personal challenge to see what the most ridiculous thing I could eat in class without getting caught was. So I started bringing soup to class, and as soon as I'd cracked the lid of my thermos, the tiniest bit, this football player that sat like 3 rows in front of me would go, "I smell meat, someone has soup," and no one ever believed him. Football player has a +2 to perception and a -2 to charisma. The only valid response. Our dwarven engineers came up with a new armor design protecting us against the typical injuries sustained by warriors returning from battles in the netherworld. Ah yes, the old B-17 survivorship bias lesson. Okay, but this is a hilarious explanation. Totally Spies wasn't a fetish show. What? No fetish-like effect placed on them? That's basically the show, XD. What are you talking about? I never saw a single fetish in that show. You're clearly misinterpreting things with your perverted perspective. I am very uncomfortable now. Yeah, I didn't watch this growing up, but now I know that it was on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon at some point, which is strange. That some people respond to any well-foreshadowed reveal with, ugh, that plot twist was so predictable, proves bad faith criticism has rotted their brains to the point they think it's bad writing if they can correctly identify information the writers were intentionally giving them. Putting a different country's flag on my lawn to make it harder for GeoGuessr players to guess where they are. Lawn, United States. Least favorite writing thing is villain's original fun personality evaporates entirely the moment like they're redeemed, simply dismissed as being a facade all along. Their so-called true self beneath the mask is actually really quite dull. Oh man, you like this bad guy for their hammy vocal performance, sparkling confidence, and boisterous charm? That's great, because we killed them off screen and replaced them with a sullen doppelganger who exists solely to mope at the camera and feel terrible about things. If I said who this post was written about, they'd nail me to the cross like Jesus of Nazareth. People are naturally lazy and will never do any kind of work for free. Minecraft players. This is actually from 2014. Here's what this year's version looks like. Hi, what the f***? Anonymous asked, big ol' butt, cowboys. Looking at Spurs makes me nut. Leather boots, assless chaps, give my big butt a slap. And now you know the cowboy rap. In Cowboy Town, we say this instead of the Pledge of Allegiance.